No clue. Hopefully the battery will last through this whole thing. This may be a little lengthy. Got quite a bit to run through here. Okay. Basically, I've got the Kingpin where it'll go in the dog bone. Also, the bushings are reamed and everything on the spindle itself. Now, I took a picture there. Let me just do a quick video reference there. I'll throw that in there. So, if you could see that on there, you can see the Kingpin is running at an angle to the dog bone. Okay. Actually, I'll get this upside down. So you can't. You got to make sure you. They're left and right, basically, is what I'm trying to get at here. The spindle is the same. Okay. So what's going to happen is, if you put it together backwards, if you have all your parts apart and everything like that, and you put the wrong spindle on the wrong dog bone, it will still fit on your truck. What's going to happen is this steering stop. There's no hole in the other side here. It's not threaded. So this wants only one side of the truck. Offhand, I don't remember for sure which side this is. So it's part of the reason why I'm doing everything just one set at a time. But definitely, mark your parts and that stuff so that they're all, this is set A, the other one's set B. Do something like that, because there's also an angle backwards here. So this is part of your camber right here, built into the Kingpin, and this is your caster. So when you look at this setup in the truck, it looks like, your lower control arm doesn't have any flex or twistability in it to allow for caster. Same thing with the top. The 1.5 degrees that these things have stock is built into the Kingpin, so there's not really a whole lot of room to move these. That's a big advantage for ball joints, is you can tweak all that around and stuff. So the camber's 3 degrees maybe. I'm not exactly sure. It might be 1.5 degrees. So some of that is in the arms and that stuff. Anyway, back to the dog bones. That was or the Kingpins. It was still pertinent because you want to keep all the parts together and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little trial fitting here. Now this bearing, if you look at this bearing, this is a shrouded bearing. That's about the only word I can think of right now. But if there is a cap, this bearing has a cover that comes down over it. So you want to make sure that the big hole in the dog bone, that is the top. So you want to make sure that this bearing goes under here, because what's going to happen is your spindle is going to be mounted on here. The tire is going to be on the ground, and the truck is going to be weighing down on this, like this. So all of your weight is going to sit on that bearing and pivot. So for rain and stuff like that and water, you want to make sure that that protected side is up, that the gap in here on the edge is down in the bottom. That way rainwater can't just come in and collect down in there. Okay, so we'll put those two together, and we're going to see if we can get the Kingpin in. All right, it's in the bearing. Wiggle the dog bone around a little bit. Now I don't need to put it all the way in. Basically, I just want it to register in that top hole just a little bit in the top bushing there. Okay. So let's flip this over like this. What I'm going to try to do here, it says if you're doing this on the car, you want to put a jack under here and jack the spindle up so that you take out all the slop in the bearing, so that you can measure this gap for the shim pack. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to basically try to cheat just a little bit, and I'm going to put that clamp on there, and that should take up the vast majority of it. It makes sure that I just don't have any loose slop. Okay, so what the goal here, the goal is 0.0016 or 0.04 millimeters. 0.0016, that's a thousandth and a half roughly. A thousandths and 6/10. So normal set of feeler gauges. Basically just start putting together different thicknesses until you get a perfect fit in there. Okay, and that's pretty darn close. So now I've got an 8, a 13, and an 18 here. Okay, the next size up for the 8 is a 10. I don't want to go up 2 thousandths. Okay, but if I take the 8 and the 13 and swap that out for the 10 and the 12, I went up 2 and down 1, net gain of 1. So I went up 1 thousandths. Okay, that's tight. So it would, if I had it jacked up with the weight of the car and everything like that, that would probably be pretty darn close. And it's actually a little looser in the back there than it is in the front. And that could be purely because I'm squeezing, slightly at an angle here. I'm not lifting straight up. So actually, I think I'm going to call that my my target there. So I've got 22, 32, 40. I've got 40 thousandths here. So what I need to do is put together a shim pack. Now these are the shims. They come in a little bag there. There's 2 more sitting over there. They're 8 thousandths shims. At least every one I measured was 8 thousandths. So all combined, I've got 56,000. 40. If I take 2 of them out, yep, right on 40. Now I want a thousandths in there. If I take 1 out, that's going to drop at 8 thousandths. So I don't know exactly whether or not it should get dropped a thousandth, or if I should drop 8 thousandths by dropping one of these, a complete one, or if I should put it in and just have it a little tight. So this is here so that when you hit bumps and stuff like that, the whole thing doesn't go thunk, 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 thunk. That's basically the big point of the shims, is to take up a lot of that. Now let me also say too, see, there's 7 shims in the pack. I've got 4 here. I better hope I don't need more on the other side. So I think it's in frame enough you can see it. You want to make sure when you take your old Kingpins apart, you save the other shims, okay? And they're a little rusty and grimy. So basically, if you put it down on a hard flat surface, you don't want to sit here and try to do it by hand. Your little wire wheel will catch the edge and bung it up in that stuff. So if you just put it down on a hard edge, we're basically going to resurrect the old shims. And just like those cooking shows, I already had the other side done. Anyway, now this one here, had you won't be able to see it in the video, I'm sure, but it had a rolled up lip on the inside because basically it was not quite centered when the Kingpin was hammered in, and that bent it up. So if you come across something like that, basically what I did, I put it on a hard flat surface and just tapped it down gently and basically worked it back and forth on both sides until I got it really pretty nice and flat. You can still see the mark in it, but it feels pretty darn flat. So this one needs to be resurrected too. This feels like a thicker one. This is way thicker than that one. At least twice as thick. You can see it visually and feel it. So how thick is this one? And it's 11,000, so it's actually thicker. Some of that part might be corrosion from there's just a little rust on there. $20 set of calipers suit you just fine for doing this stuff with 20 bucks from Harbor Freight. Now this one's closer to 29. I'll check it again when I get it cleaned. But I should be able to, 29, heck, that'll be 3 washers. That'll leave me 3 more shims for the other side. So that ought to work out nice. Okay, here's another point. My take on it, the book is very unclear, and I have not found a book or a reference, and I haven't found anybody else who